Wike came, he lost in High Court in the case, lost in Appeal Court, and judgment was already passed in Supreme Court against him, not to be governor. I called him, and he was shaking on phone. I was in Israel. I said, don't fear, don't panic. God will step in. He said, Papa, I believe. It was in PDP, APC was in power. And we were doing 5 nights of glory. After 5 nights of glory, he walked up to me. Judgment was Tuesday, 5 nights of glory was Friday. I looked at him and said, even if judgment is against you, I command it. It was not a money problem. He never had money because it was the opposite party. Judgment was, he too knew judgment was already against him. They told me how the judgment will pass, and then the chief judge collected the case, changed the Supreme Court judges, turned the case. He said, Papa, I knew this is God. I was the only one invited during his Thanksgiving as a priest. Listen carefully. That was not ended. The second time he came again, you all know it. Second time when he came, he was to lose the election. Already they've arranged how they will lose the election, and somebody walked up to me and said, you pray for Wike, we'll see how he will win. Asked him any day, I wanted the note he sent to me. He said, Papa, do I go off? I said, don't go off. God will step in. He was shaken because everything was against him. And I covenanted with God. I gave millions on behalf of Wike. I didn't tell him. I'm telling you today. I said, Lord, not for his sake, for my sake. And because the world will say, where is the God he served? I said, for my sake, step in. Not because of him. And I prayed a prayer. The day they were to change the result to give to one young man called Awara, they finished the result. On the spot, something happened. The High Commissioner stepped into the INEC. They couldn't change the result. That's how I became governor the second time.
Okay, so we've seen that Pastor David Ibiyeomie is trending on social media over the comments he made in the church in Port Harcourt. So, so many people are talking about it. His supporters, his members are saying that is the power of prayer. When it comes to politics, you pray, and then you pray that this person is going to win election, and then it's eventually happens. I know that is what the supporters are saying, and then trust critics, they will always come to do their own parts, and then others are saying, why will a religious leader come out and start claiming that his prayer was what intervened during the election, and so on and so forth. But now this is the question there. Where should the line be drawn between religion and politics? I want to hear what you have to say, Cynthia.
You ask me who I go ask. Who will I ask? Where should the line be drawn between politics and
religion?
I think it's very intriguing because it's this intersection of faith and politics. Sometimes it always sparks debate, because you hear the religious fanatics or the very religious people come out and say, I mean, if you are involved in politics, you shouldn't be. If you are involved with religion, you shouldn't be involved in politics. I remember when the former Vice President Osibanjo, he's
kind of a pastor,
inclined with religious faith.
Yeah.
So people were like, how can a pastor? He's a pastor. How can a pastor be involved in politics and all of those things? I've heard that debate for a long time, but me, Cynthia Bassett, I do not know where to draw the line with that debate. So what really stood out here is it's not just the claim itself is talking about, but is the timing and the historical line with this claim, and how he's highlighting it, because
2007
essentially I don't know, he's placing himself in the narrative of Rivers State's political history, and he's tying his prayers to all of the major milestones that the states have seen from Peter Odili in far back as 1999 to 2007. 2007. Yes, on Wike 2015, if I'm not mistaken. And it's bold because it sort of shifts that public attention from just purely thinking about political process to all of the spiritual influences attached to it. Because I know, growing up in Nigeria and becoming an adult, I've always seen where religious leaders come out to pray, give prophecies about anytime it's the election period, you hear prophecies, you hear so and all of those things. And I know, and all of these things raises questions about accountability too. But I just say that it's kind of reflects a broader Nigerian trend, because religious leaders often play that they have a visible role in politics somehow, because it's not just about the moral guides. Even if we want to go back to the Bible, we saw that it was God that gave David. It was God that instructed that David should be the king.
Yes.
So I think I'm just looking at I'm not a very religious person, but I'm just looking at the intersection of. I'm trying to just look at the intersection of politics and religion. So whether we like it or not, if God's soldier say him, God was the one that gave him the vision, or he prayed.
It was because of
it. Not just about it just sort of shows us how moral should I say moral guides most of our or should I say how religion guides most of our influences most of the things the things we think about, even politics, public perception too out there. And there's something subtle, but this is just about bragging. I don't think as him just bragging. I think it is positioning his ministry as a force that can sway
and
outcomes. I think that's where go ahead.
So let's talk about timing. Do you think he's doing it at the right time, being that Wike and the current governor of
that's why I started off telling you that
kind of issues.
There's something with time play there. There's something with the timing too there. So I think that's where the reaction got the mixed reaction is stirring up from, because supporters see divine intervention. Why some critics are coming out now, they are saying they are worrying about that mixing pastoral, like I started off saying, mixing pastoral influences, mixing with political legitimacy, because critics with logical thinking, all of those psychology, they come out and they tell you that choose a winner, choose who you want to emerge winner for something, choose whoever you vote for, whoever you want to vote for, and then we are coming to hear that a pastor prayed.
So
if we even think about historical figures like Odili and Amaechi that have had their political career by legal battles from here to the other, some party disputes. I mean, I cannot remember Peter Odili's name without thinking about all of these legal battles. And sometimes all of these contentious electoral practices, and Ibeyiomi now claims that how should I put it, essentially overlay a spiritual lens, sort of a spiritual lens over their political realities, and which is something you see often discussing, often discussed in mainstream media. People will talk. There must be this side and